Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khair for tuning in to another episode of Maximized Ridwanullah Podcast TV. This is your brother Hussein Mohamud, working to maximize your souls and spirits by the grace, will, and for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in today's episode, if you've been stressed and depressed and you're trying to figure out a way to find happiness again. You've had your heart broken, if not shattered. And you know what I mean? Individuals have kind of used and abused you in one way or another, or maybe have disregarded your thoughts and feelings as if you were nothing, as if you were not valuable to them. But in reality, you are valuable. And if you've been having those types of issues in this life, then today's episode is right for you. And inshallah, the topic of discussion is, how can I be happy? That is the topic on the minds of so many individuals in one way or another. We wonder, how can we find that happiness, that peace, that tranquility, that contentment within? And, we try to find it within our families. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that it is not the source of true happiness. And we try to find it within our bodies, trying to maximize our health and fitness. And in reality, that is not the answer either, although that is something that we need to focus on and maximize, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Or we might try to find it in money, right? We try to engage in our finances, and we try to engage in our jobs. We try to improve our careers. We try to start businesses and invest to find freedom and wealth. And in reality, that's not where true happiness is. That's not the true source of true happiness. And that is why individuals who are achieving to be happy will find themselves always miserable. Where in reality, those who are happy to achieve will always find happiness by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we also try to find it in serving our communities, contributing, figuring out how to give back to our ummah in ways that are profound by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in reality, those are means to happiness. They're not the essence of happiness. And you kind of are wondering then, these are the only reasons and these are the only places that we know how to find true happiness. So how do we find happiness? How can we achieve this happiness that we're looking for, this contentment within our hearts, this satisfaction? And if it was in wealth and riches and materialistic things, then there would be no such thing as a famous and rich person who's committing suicide. And you could tell that that's been the epidemic of our realities, right? Majority of the individuals who are rich and famous, so to say, in one way or another, according to the standards of society, they are the individuals who are so miserable, so unhappy that they commit suicide. So that is not the answer. That is not the solution. So we might be wondering what is. And in reality, as usual, as always, individuals of faith will have to take it back to the Quran and Sunnah. We'll have to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. And that is where we find true happiness. And in digging through happiness, in digging through the sources of happiness and the essence of happiness, we really have to look into our souls. We really have to look into the components of our souls, which is the mind, right? Which is in reality a part of the soul, if not the soul itself. It could be the heart, right? The container of the soul. Or it could be the mind, the processor of the soul. And the things that allow us to rationally think through elements of true happiness. And I know some of these things seem a little complex, and they seem a little too far, and they seem a little too deep for the most part, but in reality they are simple. We're not trying to dig deeper into the soul, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informs us that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has knowledge of the soul. But we can understand the elements of the soul to help us find happiness by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one thing that I would submit to you is that no matter where you look, no matter how hard you look and how wide you look and how thorough you look, you will never find happiness until you look into one place. And I submit to you that that one place is truly, truly, truly remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the only true way of gaining true happiness and contentment and satisfaction of the heart and soul, mind and body, and every essence of happiness in whatever ways that you want to define happiness. And once you truly remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant you true happiness, contentment and satisfaction. And remember, the only reasons why I'm sharing these ideas, these amazing ideas with you, is to help you maximize the quality and quantity of your life. And the only way to do that is to maximize your souls and spirits by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us of in His beautiful kalam, the essence and the reality of these words, that it is the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we truly find happiness and contentment. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the beautiful kalam, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَتَطْمَئِنُّ قُلُوبُهُمْ بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبِ. That in those individuals who truly believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and find satisfaction and true contentment in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For verily in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do hearts find contentment, happiness and satisfaction. So that is the thing that we have to remember every single day that we go through our lives. It is in essence the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we find true happiness, true joy and true contentment. And enough proof of that is that when you are truly remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you are truly remembering your creator, owner and sustainer, you feel absolutely no regrets. But when you are remembering and engaged and immersed in other things such as, your family, your body, your money and career development in the ummah, those are elements and means to true happiness, but they are not the essence of true happiness. And once you are engaged in those elements and you find true happiness, that is only through the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the only reason why you engage in these other areas of your life is to truly remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and be humble to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also make sure that you are grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those are the true means to true happiness, contentment and satisfaction. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that has been somewhat of a relief for you, like a mountain of burden has been lifted off your shoulder, to remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's remembrance is the true and essence of happiness. And if this has been something that you found to be true and you've been pondering and thinking about, please share your thoughts and ideas in the comments below and let me know what you think. And if this has been helpful to you in any way possible, shape or form, please press the like button and share it with those who are truly seeking true happiness and haven't found it yet. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We hope to deliver beautiful content to you that will allow you to maximize the quality and quantity of your life, not only in this life but also in the hereafter, by the grace, will and for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I hope some idea that I shared with you has been somewhat of a relief to you and a value and use to you in your life, that hopefully you can make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for me and our efforts in this life and in the hereafter. Jazakumullahu khair. I will say, keep striving for your goals and dreams by the grace, will, and for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.